Okay, so we got our warm-up in, we got our stances down, so now I'm going to talk about two of the basic Atemi, the strikes that we do here. So first, very first strike that I teach here is Jodan ski, or roughly translated high-level punch. Ski means to thrust, right? So ski could be done with a weapon, or in this case, ski is I'm thrusting with my fist, so it's a punch. We are going to start this time from Ichimonji no Kamae. So I'm going to take my Ichimonji no Kamae here. Sun. Notice how instead of down here by the waist, Ichimonji no Kamae, my hand, my rear hand is coming right up in front of my chin here. So from here, I'm going to transition. Here, shift my weight forward into Ihan no Kamae. I'm going to take a nice long step out this way. I'm going to throw my punch out, and I'm going to return what was my front hand to this rearward position. Right, so doing that from side view here, I'm going to get in the frame. So here I'm in Ichimonji no Kamae. I'm going to shift my weight forward, coming into Ihan no Kamae here. I'm going to take a nice big step through, and I'm initiating that step with not this foot, but my rear leg. There's no weight on it, so I'm going to step straight through. I'm going to pull my front hand back, really pull your shoulder blades together, and I'm going to send that punch right out. And remember, nice tight fist. And you really want to be nice and relaxed. You want to only tense once you've actually reached that target and actually try to hit something, right? You try to stay tense the entire way through. It's going to rob you of any power of that strike, and this is true for pretty much any striking system on the face of the planet, right? The more relaxed you are, the more fluid it's going to be, the more power you're going to be able to generate, especially if you have good mechanics down. So some things to watch out for when you're practicing your ski is a lot of people try to take their kamae here very centered, right? Instead of having this more kind of weight back orientation, right? Very centered. Now, if you're practicing, maybe not this deep, could be a little bit higher up, but no, you could be practicing Taekwondo, Karate, Muay Thai, any of what we would consider the conventional striking styles, or even boxing. There's a reason that they work in this fashion, right, with the weight in the center, and it just doesn't work for the taijutsu system, right? So here you want your weight pretty much all the way back, and remember, this is a starting form, right? We're not actually going to be doing this type of stuff in, like a live sparring session or something like that. This is just so you can learn how to move. One thing, but that is one thing to watch out for, having the weight not all the way back or all the way forward, but very centered. What this is going to have you do, and this plays into the bad mechanics, for throwing punches, but from here, if I shift my weight forward and I try to push off that back foot, right? Now, the reason you don't want to be pushing off in this fashion is if you watch my head, if I shift forward nice and clean here, my head stays just about the same level, right? What I don't want to do is I don't want to use the drive from that foot and that hip to do this, because now I don't have all of my energy, all of my power going forward. Some of it is coming up. So what I end up with is this type of rising punch, and that takes away a lot from the amount of power that I'll be able to generate. And exact same thing that you see some people do when they box or when they kickbox, right? You're in your nice stance, you're up on the balls of your feet, and you throw in a right cross, right? And you see a lot of the times when people throw a right cross, they don't, really try to use that body like a screw and really drive in and throw that punch, right? And stay nice and low and use this pivot. Instead, what you see a lot of the time is not so much of a pivot with the rear foot, but you see them throwing the punch and they're lifting off of it, right? So that's bad punching mechanics, right? You can still produce a fairly powerful punch that way, but if you want to produce maximum energy here, you really want to be able to not drive your energy up, but you really want to drive that energy through. Another thing to watch out for when you're practicing ski is, so this is going to be, now this is great for beginners, but this is geared for a little bit later. Something to pay attention to is the positioning of your head. So you see here when I take my Ichimonji no Kamae, I'm prepared to punch. Here, I'm staring straight into the camera, right? I'm pointing my head in the direction that I want it to go. Now, there can be some limiting factors to this. Some people have fairly stiff shoulders, fairly stiff necks, right? That's going to prevent you from getting that head, or that chin rather, looking right over your shoulder to get into this to this parallel stance. And also, and another thing is also going to be the chin, right? When you don't, and traditional martial artists are criticized for this all the time, but especially if if strikes are being thrown your way, the last thing that you want to do is to take your stance like this, with the chin sticking out, right? And you see that with traditional martial artists all the time, especially guys that haven't necessarily been through live sparring or have actually gotten hit before. A lot of the times they stand here, hands are up, but the chin is really nice and high up in the air. Doesn't matter how good my defense is over here with my hands, I get clocked here, I'm done. So I really want to be able to have this nice strong stance, nice grounded stance rooted in with my legs, shoulders pulled back, hands are up and out in front of me, and my chin isn't up here. My natural position with the spine is going to allow me to have that chin tucked in a little bit and still looking forward at the target. All right, next up for striking or Atemi, we have Zenpo Geri. Now, Zenpo Geri or Mae Geri, broken down really simple, it's a front kick. The one big difference being the way that our kick is actually chambered in Taijutsu. Aside from that, mechanics and everything otherwise is going to be almost the exact same as any other front kick that you'll ever throw. So the way that I like to teach this here at our dojo is, rather than having that nice profile stance that is generally associated with Taijutsu, I'm going to adopt pretty much a full-on square stance here. In this case, I'm going to be kicking with my right leg to show you guys, so I'm just going to take a small step back with that. My feet are about shoulder width apart, slight bend in the knees, and relatively narrow stance, right? I'm really, the toes on my rear foot here are just a little bit past the heel of my front foot, but from here, I'm going to have my weight come onto my front foot. I'm going to have it pre-shifted there to begin with, so this is going to train a little bit of strength with your supporting leg. In this case, it's going to be my left leg, and also hands are going to be up. Right? So I don't care if they're out here or over here, just don't have your hands super low, or even worse, have your hands all the way down here. There is a merit to being able to kick with your hands down here, but I teach these guys here at my dojo with the hands up, right? Especially if you're going to be engaging with a kick like this to begin with, probably means that you're already in a situation. It's probably better to have your hands up. I'm going to have my hands up, and I like my hands open or half open, however you like to call this. And from here, I'm going to throw that front kick by having my kicking leg bend all the way, right? I'm going to bend that in, and I'm going to try to get my knee, same side knee, up into the same side shoulder, right? So I'm going to try to get my right knee up into my right shoulder. So just to show first with the hands down what that looks like. From here, I'm not going to hunch down and try to bring the shoulder to the knee. I'm going to keep my weight forward, that back nice and straight, and I really want to bring that knee up into the shoulder and then kick out, right? From the side. So again, with the hands down so you guys can see. Here. So I'm not trying to chamber it here and then throw. I'm trying to chamber all the way up here to the shoulder, and then I'm going to throw out, right? I don't want to throw up. I don't want to throw down. I want to throw that kick straight out. And I want to sink a little bit down on my supporting leg, give myself a little bit of an anchor to work with, And I really want to be able to throw that kick straight out. Now there are a bunch of different kicks to throw, but this is the most basic one, and it's the one that I like starting out with. So again, from here, feet staggered, shoulder width apart, squared on, hands up, and to throw the kick, bending my kicking leg, bringing that knee up into the shoulder, not the other way around, right? Back nice and straight, and I'm gonna throw that kick straight out. And I really wanna land that, ideally either with, I wanna land that ideally with the heel, but depending on what you wanna do, you can also land this with the ball of the foot. So that is going to be, so I think that's gonna be it for our Kihon portion. I'm going to take a little break here and then move on to our Sanshi no Kata.